I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. This is part 3 of our interview with Kyle Mater from Rainmaker Platoon.
But my back was, so I think the next day Ackles talked about they went to like Baghdad or something, and 'cause my bell got rung, they wouldn't let me go with. So I think me and Fernandez stayed back, and oh man, there's something about that. But yeah, so we stayed back. I remember that. And oh yeah, Gunny Mararki would walk by me and he'd say my name, super quiet, and then until I could hear him, and then I gotcha. It only took 3 tries this time, or something like that.
Fucking Gunny. I love that dude so much.
Yeah, he was awesome. But I think, trying to look at my notes, but I thought I had something written down. No. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say, because my back was hurting a lot after going off the road. So that one doctor with the battalion, he did acupuncture.
Yep.
So I went over to BAS, and he did acupuncture on me once for sure, maybe twice. That actually was kind of cool. I felt kind of good. I think I fell asleep both times while he was doing it, getting needles put in my back. But that was kind of cool, kind of interesting.
He did the I got that done too, because I got.
Oh really?
Yeah. I got same, actually almost exactly the same issue as later on. Probably had fractured a vertebrae in my back and got pretty jacked up. Still have a lot of issues, but I was when we first got back to mine, I did that with him after we had gotten back. But the reason why I went to him is my my back was so tight that it would crack my neck sometimes, like the muscles pulling down on my traps.
Yeah.
Would crack my neck without me wanting to. Like it was just and then that release of my back was so endorphin level that it would make me kind of like pass out. I don't know if you remember this, but I would be like standing in formation and my neck would pop without me needing, and I'd just like kind of like slump over.
I don't remember
that. and so he did acupuncture, but he just took a class on it. I don't think he was like fully like.
Oh really?
Yeah, he took like a weekend. It was like a weekend class on like acupuncture points, and so he had me in like this. He had me in some random room, laying on a bench with a woolen blanket, and he stuck it into me and turned down the lights, and he was like, "We're gonna warm up these needles," and he had like these little like hot sticks, that were like he was like holding it onto the needles, and I mean, to be fair, it loosened shit up where I wasn't.
Yeah, it felt good. I remember it feeling pretty good. I remember being like super like lethargic afterwards, but well, yeah, I was just like going through my journal. I put some notes and stuff down. Like I remember I got some stuff down about, because after a while we transitioned to like just doing OPs around the city for the most part, and then we'd still do the raids and stuff. Yeah. But I remember one night we were on an OP over by, I think, was it called the Arches?
Yeah,
kind of by the cemetery up there.
Sure. Yeah,
and there were little divots kind of dug out, and we were sitting in one, and all of a sudden I had it was Wallace was next to me, and he started like not yelling out, but like he's like, Mater, come here, Mater. And I look, he's like, something bit me, and there's little scorpions all over the place. Like, oh shit. So like I was like, I don't know, like I didn't know shit, and I thought like if he started running it would make it worse, so I like ran down and got Doxy, and turns out he was fine if I remember right, but like a scorpion like pinched him or stung him or something like that, and that was I'll never forget that. I'm like, fuck, this fucking scorpions. I think we killed them all if I remember right, but yeah, just doing those OPs, and then we set up on an OP when you guys went and picked up the Warlock over in that same spot, and I remember you guys got hit. I think it missed. You guys got hit like 2 separate times before even leaving like Ramadi proper on Michigan. Because there was one, I remember we went out for that one because we all mounted back up from our OP, went there, and I think it missed all the Humvees. And then we went back to the OP, and you guys took off, and you got hit again by a daisy chain one, but it missed all the Humvees. And 'cause I remember then going over to there, and then you guys were like, "Well, we're fine, so we're just continue on the mission," But yeah, and then I think we went out there when those snipers got killed. We went out for that because I remember going up to the roof after they brought the bodies down, and yeah, it was just a weird feeling. And then because we had to stay there forever because that army colonel, full colonel, came out for that one. And then I remember,
I think they pulled out a lot of people because Rainmaker. I don't remember what role Rainmaker was performing for that.
I think it's
because I think we must have been on like day taskable because Sledgehammer then took the bodies.
Yeah, because I remember you guys went to like TQ or wherever to bring the bodies. But I think we might have actually escorted that army colonel out. We might have done that. I think that might have been what we did because we just set up security. I'm pretty sure the whole time. But
Yeah,
I remember when going up to the roof too. That was.
But I remember like there was a map. At least one other map went out. Platoon was out there.
We were out there, but we were securing Route Michigan, so we were away from the building.
Okay. Yeah, I remember there was quite a few people that went out for that or whatever.
Staff Sergeant Coleman and Lieutenant Stevens went up into the building, but the rest of us just stayed out and
I remember
secured the street.
But I remember there was one mission that Rainmaker and Sledgehammer did where we met up at Blue Diamond with two Marine full bird colonels, and we sat around Blue Diamond for it seemed like hours, and then the two colonels just wanted to drive around the city. I know, Blake, if you remember that at all.
I do. I was fucking livid. Livid.
We all were, because I don't know if you remember, but the city was like a ghost town that day. We're like, any fucking second now, we're getting hit. The whole time. I thought we were getting hit the whole time. And then someone took a turn down some alley, and it was like there was barely enough room for the Humvees to go down. And I'm like, this is it. This is where we get hit, And I couldn't believe nothing happened that day.
I was so mad because that was it. They literally just wanted to join. They had come into Blue Diamond for some like meetup.
Yeah.
And while there was like, hey, can we get a tour of the city?
Dude, and everyone was so pissed. Like, you got to be shitting me. And of course, I couldn't believe we didn't get hit. There was no one out in the city that day. Thought for sure. And that was like, I don't have nightmares about Iraq at all, but I had one, and it was from that mission, driving down this. It was when we made that turn down the alley where I'm like, this is where we get hit. And in my dream or nightmare, bombs started blowing up. And as soon as they get to me, I would wake up. And I had that for like when I got home for like a week or two, and then just went away and never had a nightmare ever again. That was the only nightmare I ever had. Yeah. I'll never forget.
I remember I've talked about it. It was specifically the number of times that we did escorts for people, like just like that, whether it was a high profile person or one of the reporters. I didn't mind with Oliver North.
Yeah.
But that's because it was a little bit more organic, but it was any time that we were doing it purely because they wanted the street cred or whatever.
That's what it seemed like.
I remember quite a few, and I don't know if Sledgehammer had more or if it was just because it was me. And so I'm remembering it, but I felt like we got tasked with that all the time. And those were like, I was always so livid that they were asking us to do that shit because it was unnecessary danger, right? Yeah, it would be a different story if that was like part of our larger mission. Like we were going to be doing it anyways. And hey, come on, tag along. But when we were specifically asked to like, tourism type bullshit.
Yep. I remember. So I think someone had talked about it when that IP station got blown up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember, I think I had it written down that it was June 14th. Or no, sorry. Yeah. No, I'm thinking something different.
July 3rd was when the police station got blown up that I know of. That's the one I have written down. But that doesn't mean there wasn't. The ICDC got attacked a couple times too. So it's hard to say.
I got June 24th for the IP station getting blown up.
Okay. That's probably it could be a different one. It could be the same one. It might have got blown up twice.
Yeah, maybe. Or could have been two different ones. But I remember, oh no, so June 14th, I remember we had escorted I had some general to combat outpost with, I think we were at the headquarters company, and then Gulf Company patrol got in a firefight. And I remember we went out to support them. We didn't do too much shooting, maybe a little bit, but I'll never forget we were getting shot at, and there was this little, I don't know, it was like a little square brick thing that had water or something in it. And I went on the backside of it and took cover. Well, on the backside of it was like standing shit water. And it was the only cover I had because I got caught in a bad spot. And I remember standing in this shit water and shooting back. And it wasn't until it was so gross. And the smells in Iraq were just different scents of shit all over. But once we got back to Hurricane Point, I dumped bottles of water down my boots. And when I poured them out, the water is straight black. It was, those boots were, I had to throw them in the burn pit after that, which those boots were ruined, just ruined. But funny story, I think Luna needed new boots or a new uniform. So when we went over to supply to get me boots and him a new uniform, on the way back, we heard incoming mortars. And so I started to run and Luna for any kind of cover because we were out in the middle of the open. And he's like, if you can hear it, it's not going to hit you. And I remember yelling back at Luna bullshit. And I went to the closest piece of cover I could and dove behind it. And those mortars they landed in supply where because Luna started running after me. And they landed pretty much where we had just been standing. And I was like, I'm glad we started running. God. But yeah, so I got June 24, and I could be wrong too. So I remember we were on day something. I don't know what it was. But I remember I was out in the smoke pit with Bowers and we heard this huge explosion. So we went and turned the radio on in the Humvee. And then I don't think anyone in the battalion had figured out quite what it was yet because there was people talking about it on the radio. And then Lieutenant Dobb came over and he was like, hey, we're gonna go over. No, we escorted headquarters company to combat outpost. And then in a second later, he's like, we're just going to go. They want us to drive around just to gauge what the city's like because we couldn't figure out what that huge explosion was. So as we're driving, I think but at that point now I was in the second Humvee. And then behind us was, I think Calderon was driving. And I know Tebow was in that Humvee. I'm pretty sure. But all of a sudden we passed this car. And then as soon as we passed it, fucking thing blew up. I remember it was flames across the road, flames 2 stories high. And then I thought for sure that Calderon's Humvee they were smoked. I'm like, they're all fucking dead. I was like, God damn it. Well, a second later through the smoke comes the Humvee. They thought we were all fucking dead. Well, we were thinking they were all dead. No one was dead except for, someone got fucked up in a car. Some Iraqi person got fucked up in a car that was just happened to be driving down the road. But the only one that got hurt was Sletton. He took a little piece of shrapnel in his earlobe, maybe the size of a dime, maybe even smaller than that. I just remember he had a piece of metal sticking out of his earlobe. Otherwise, I couldn't believe that no one got hit on that one.
We got so lucky so many times. The amount of times that I can count of those goddamn IEDs going off right between the trucks is absolutely insane.
It's crazy. But I remember eventually we made some turn and there's Iraqi fire trucks or whatever. And then we found the station blown up. And it was rubble, just complete rubble. Yeah. And they're telling us people were buried inside there still. And I'm like, oh shit. But there's so many people out. I think we were there. I have it written down that we were there for about an hour to 2 hours. And then we eventually left. But that was nuts.
The end of middle June through early July, when we were, you have to remember what we were trying to do. We were trying to hand off control over to the ICDC and the police and stuff like that. But in our infinite wisdom, when we were starting over that program, we forgot that officers and leadership requires time to build up. And so we had basically a bunch of privates for them, and there wasn't a good leadership, and so that kind of was imploding. But there was so many attacks on their compounds and their outposts, and we were just reminded of when the governor that's the time period that the governor of the Al Anbar province got kidnapped too.
Yep, I remember that. I remember
And so that was a that was a transitional time for sure.
Oh yeah. So I think we started around then, like building up like observation posts all over the place. So I think Golf Company had the Egg Center OP that got shot at like daily or something like that.
Yep.
And then
we had the library and
yeah, that hotel
Mhm.
the hotel.
too, because I have written down on July 21st there was a big firefight day. Because that was before the hotel OP. Because I remember I didn't write too much of my journal on that, but I remember we were in firefights for a little bit that day, and then we ended up being like across the street from that hotel, and then all of a sudden we started getting shot at from the hotel, and it just happened to be at the same time when these Bradleys were coming by. So the Bradleys just stopped, turned their Bushmasters, and then lit that place up. As well as our 50 cals and Mark 19s and whatever also lit it up, and then I think we were gonna go in and clear it, but then we got another mission and left, and then one of the other line companies went in and cleared the hotel, and then eventually they moved the Egg Center OP to that hotel OP. So remember we had to do security all night long. Well, they did that, which I don't know if you ever saw them or remember, but the Army had these trucks, kind of like a 7-ton, but the bed was longer, and that fucking thing had so many guns on it. There's the one in the turret on the cab of the truck, and then this flatbed truck had like every side had like a 50 cal, a 240, and like a Mark 19 on it. There was just guns
I
all
don't
around
remember
this
that.
thing. Oh
I don't
yeah,
remember that at
because
all.
they had 2 of those out there, and then when they started putting those barriers up at Hurricane Point, they had those trucks out there that night too.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much firepower in those little they're kind of like a 7-ton, but a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember
seeing
those things either. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
That's
remember seeing those. They were, yeah. If they ever used them, I don't know, but those things were cool.
That'd be quite the gun truck for sure.
Yeah, oh, it was huge. I mean, there was like, there had to have been like 7 or 8 total crew served weapons on that one truck.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. Those things were, I wouldn't mess with that thing, but yeah. And then, yeah, so I got a couple other things. I remember we got those combat replacements from the 3.5 or 2.35.
Yep.
And then, because I think in Rainmaker we had Larson and Fox, and I think I can't remember who it was with anymore. It's either Larson or Fox, but him and we realized we could both speak Pig Latin, that made up language.
Yeah.
So, and I think we taught it to, I think Bowers too. And it was either a week or like 2 weeks where we just agreed we're not going to speak anything but Pig Latin, except for like on a mission. So we went like 10 days just speaking Pig Latin all day long. Dude, no one knew what the fuck we were talking about. That's all, unless it was like something work related. We just spoke Pig Latin the whole time. I'll never forget that.
These are my favorite memories because most serious situation you could be in. Your friends are dying. Everybody's like, the city's burning. You're starving. Fucking shit sucks. Your family thinks you're dead. What are you doing? For 2 weeks, we're speaking Pig Latin, motherfucker. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And then I wrote down a couple of things that I remember that were pretty funny, like raiding the chawl for the Gatorade. Oh yeah, there was one night we had built that pretty nice smoke pit behind the Rainmaker and Sledgehammer hooches.
Yeah.
There was one night we were back there smoking. I remember, I can't remember if Leighton was a corporal or a sergeant by then, but we're sitting back there and he's got his headphones on and he's like kind of leaned back, smoking cigarettes, got his eyes closed, and we can hear the incoming mortars. So everyone else in the smoke pit, we all dived to the ground, and he must have felt something or someone moving or whatever, because he opened his eyes, he sees us all on the ground, and then he immediately dove to the ground. And the fucking one of the mortars landed right behind the smoke pit, but it was a dud because we all heard it impact into the berm, and we all came out looking for it and like, oh shit, it's fucking sticking out of the ground right there. And I think EOD, someone came over and was like picked it up and brought it to that like UXO pit that they had by the front gate. I remember the look in Leighton's eyes when he saw us all on the ground. His eyes got real wide, and I thought that one was pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, there was that one day. I think it was me and Miner went and ate the breakfast for whatever reason, And that was when the North Bridge was getting either, I think, taking fire from that abandoned building that was kind of across the road. And we'd walked up to the behind the hooch to the berm, and just in time to see them fire a javelin off the North Bridge into that. That was fucking cool to see. I don't, if I'd seen a javelin fired, I don't remember, but seeing that was fucking cool. Come off the bridge. That was pretty cool.
Almost never. All the javelin guys, I think out of all of them, only one of them had fired a training round one time. Like they were just weren't allowed to shoot them. They were so expensive.
So expensive. Yeah. God. But I remember, so when we built that smoke pit, we built like a bench on the backside of it, kind of at an angle. And I remember Bowers and I would spend quite a few nights sitting back there just bullshitting, smoking cigarettes. Because I don't know if you remember like how clear the sky was in Iraq. Like you could see every fucking star in the sky. And the shooting stars were so clear and there's so many of them. And we'd sit back there and just bullshit about home chain smoking cigarettes. Like we did that quite a few times at night. That was kind of cool. I remember doing that. But yeah, coming near the end, I remember when we were doing that left seat, right seat shit with the 2-5 guys. I remember it was my team's turn to stay back, but Weaver was our gunner on a Mark. We had a Mark 19 in I think we were in a hardback, or the up armored Humvees at that time. And yes, we definitely were. And Weaver was the gunner for Hutch. And he had we had the tires on the spare tire in the back of the Humvee in the hatch. And he had put his arm in there and the tire, the hatch came down and like smacked in his arm. So they thought he broke his arm. So he didn't go out. So I volunteered to man the Mark 19 on that. I think we were escorting log train and some 2-5 guys to combat outpost. And that was when the 7-ton, the water truck got hit and locked up the brakes, or the wheels locked up. So the wheels wouldn't turn. So I remember we were pushing and pulling the 7-ton with 7 tons. And we were going like 5 miles an hour, maybe through the middle of the city.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, we're going to get hit. I fucking know it. So I racked the Mark 19 I don't remember like the conditions for the Mark 19, but I remember you had to rack it twice.
Yep.
So I racked it the second time to load that round. And then sure as shit, we got hit not too long after that. And I remember we were kind of closer to combat outpost. And I think in the Humvee Luna was driving, Hutch was vehicle commander, and I think Watkins and Sletton were in the back 2 seats, and I was on the Mark 19. And we were at some intersection kind of out of the middle of the city, and there were some 2-5 guys, and I found out later on, someone said they're chow workers. Well, they're getting shot at from the right side. Well, they all took cover on the right side of the Humvee. And I'm like, they're getting fucking shot at from down there. So Hutch has Luna move the Humvee up, and also I'm like, there they are. There's some dudes behind cars. So I got to unload with the Mark 19. And my first couple rounds went high and blew up some like power things. Sparks went flying everywhere. And then I kind of just walked the Mark 19 rounds down the road all the way to the dude behind these like 2 or 3 cars. And I went through that whole big ammo can of Mark 19 rounds. It was like
getting 30, on target.
Yeah. It was like, I think what those big ones had like 32 rounds or 36 rounds in them.
The big cans were 48. The small
48.
cans were,
okay.
So I think. I'm not a machine gunner, but I think they're 48. And the smaller cans were 30, 32, 36.
I went through that whole can. There's nothing left of those dudes that were behind there. But I was like, I wasn't a machine gunner either. Like I had a working knowledge of the Mark 19. Yeah. But like if it went down, I don't know if I would have figured it out. But luckily it didn't, and I just got the gun back up and didn't have to shoot it anymore. But yeah, I went through the whole can of that was kind of cool. I'll never forget that. But yeah, and then we left soon after that. I'm pretty sure. I think that might have been my last mission, I think. I'm almost positive that was the last one. But and then soon after.
I was gonna say, what do you remember wrapping up and going to Junction City and then wrapping everything up and
yeah, I remember we had to turn in our ACOG, which I didn't like doing that because then I had iron sights, which I'm sure the BZO was still there because I didn't adjust the iron sights on the front sight post or the rear sight. But I mean, the handle came off the rifle. Mm-hmm. I was surprised I still had that. somewhere. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember loading up in the 7 tons. I got pictures of all of us like making hand signs and shit on the, before we left Hurricane Point. Those 2-5 guys, man, though, they didn't know what they were getting into, I don't think. 'Cause I remember doing a couple little foot patrols with them. And like, remember the upper Humvees, the tan ones had that like gate you could put up on the window. It was supposed to like stop the
Oh
RPG.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So there was this one sergeant, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna want to put that back up. He goes, no, we don't. No. I'm like, you're gonna like here's and I explained to him why. And he wouldn't do it. And I found out later on he was the one that got hit with the glass and got killed. And I was like,
I was in that truck when that happened.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
Oh,
Sergeant Tennille.
yeah. I was like, dude, like it sounded like they just didn't listen to like the advice we would give them, from what I was told. But
it ended up being a two-stage problem. Number one, their leadership when they were back in Camp Pendleton were
call us a bunch
told,
of cowboys.
yeah, we're told
Yeah.
that what we were doing was we were just running and gunning and shooting anything that moves, and they were going to do it different. They were gonna come and bring order to the city in a better way.
Okay.
And dude, I can't blame them if that's what they were told. Because if I came and met us in the state that we were in by the time we left, I would have thought we were a bunch of wild animals too.
Yeah, for sure.
And realistically, we were, because we had been in running combat every other day, every couple of days.
I can't remember if I ever was told how their deployment there went, if it was similar to ours, or I guess I never found that out, if it was, or if things died down at all. I don't know if you guys know that at all.
It did not. It was still extremely active all through the winter. And then they split the city right at the end of their deployment into 3 or 4 pieces.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
And brought in other Marine battalions and an Army unit.
Lucky. Blake, do you remember there was a guy in 2-5 that had been in 81s on the Okie deployment? I think, all tatted up. T-Wig, Twilliger?
Oh, Twilliger.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for you to say it.
Yeah. I remember seeing him.
T-Wig,
I remember seeing him on one of our last days. Because remember him telling us that like they wouldn't let him back in the Marines on active duty because of his tattoos. But they said he could join the reserves and go active there.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. I was just going to add to the second part of what Nylan was saying about part of the challenge, and this specifically is what cost. I mean, I was the only one that walked away from that truck. And what had happened, and I'll condense this story, but they had trouble with like escalating communication. Like there was like this barrier of like a private telling the lieutenant something to do, and the lieutenant being like, oh, legitimately we need to do something about this. And they were like, I don't know if they were afraid or what, but we kept getting into situations where we would be like, this is going to happen, we need to go. And like I was trying to say that to Sergeant Tennell, and he couldn't like tell the lieutenant to do something different. Like he was afraid to get on the inner squad box and say something. And that happened over and over again. It was like, you like tell them that this needs to happen, and they wouldn't listen. Or they were afraid, they were afraid to like pass that information up or whatever. Yeah. And so that's actually what saved me, is I finally was like, fuck it. And I reached around to go grab the mic off of him and key it. Yeah. And me wrapping my body around the side of the seat, I was behind the vehicle commander, and me wrapping my body around that allowed his whole body to absorb the RPG. And it still fucked me up. I mean, it knocked me out. I think that's what fractured my one vertebrae. I still had shrapnel in my hand and my face and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyways.
But I remember going over to Junction City. They had us in those. I don't know. There was a name for it. I can't remember what it was called. Those little hooches that they had us in.
Oh, the ones that they.
I mean, they weren't too bad.
I thought they were called the CB huts because the CBs built them. That's what I don't know what they were actually called, but that's what we called them.
Yeah, I can't remember. There wasn't, because I should have wrote it down because I had it written down in my my journal. But I did find a picture of Blake, me, and you. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. I think he must have jumped on me while I was laying in the rack doing something because there was a very surprised look on my face. And
that's fake surprise, sir. You invited him into your bed. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's awesome.
But yeah, because we were there for like a week or 10 days or something like that. And I remember, I think all we had to do was
you guys were. Just that you guys were. We came later. We were only there for like 2-3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember all we had to do was like once or twice a day was not even formation, just get together and like show your serialized gear. And I remember I lost track of time one day and I like on one of the very last days and I wasn't there for one of them. So my punishment was I had to carry the sea bag full of all the extra M16 A2s back all the way back to the States and then turn them into the armory. Serialized gear. So a couple of us had compasses. Mine went in my fucking little box and never left until I had to turn them in at the end. Luna kept his in his butt pack. Well, his butt pack came unzipped one day on a foot patrol earlier on in the deployment and he lost it. Sergeant G made us go back out into the city and patrol around looking for his compass. We pretty much redid our whole foot patrol and we never found it. So
shit.
Yeah, we were like all pissed off because we were back at the Hurricane Point by then. But yeah. But yeah. I remember being back in Kuwait. I think someone got sunburned. They're like, no more sun tanning, or that might have been back at Hurricane Point, one of the headquarters guys. I think he fell asleep in the sun. But I think we weren't allowed to suntan either, if I remember right.
Nope, for the same reason.
Yeah, for the same reason. And then yeah, I think we were there for however long at Junction City, and then we took the long 7-ton rides back to Al Asad Air Base, I think, where we flew out from.
Correct, yeah.
And that was weird. I think our flight got delayed because the base got mortared, if I remember right.
It was getting mortared as we drove up, yeah.
Yeah. And then that combat takeoff on the C-130s out of there, that was like a wild roller coaster ride, but none of us gave a shit because I remember they had us jam-packed in these C-130s. I could barely move, and it was a short flight, but I barely could move. I have a picture somewhere in there of like we've got our sea bags and packs all on top of us, and I could barely see over the top of the packs. And
Yep.
And then we went back to Camp Victory, and I remember it being I remember when we landed, we got off, and there was nothing. I remember at least for us, we just laid down, and everyone just went to sleep. And then some buses came and took us back to Camp Victory at some point. And then it was a ghost town there. There was because when we were first there, there's thousands and thousands of Marines and soldiers and whoever else. And when we got back, there was no one there.
I think, and I could be wrong, I think we went through a different camp because there's 5 big camps in Kuwait and they had just built them all while we were on our deployment. And I think we went to one of the newer camps, to a different one. But either way, that place was great because it had like a fucking Pizza Hut and a PX and there was no one there. It was just us.
There's no one there. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then because we were only there for a couple of days, if I remember right, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's just for a hot second.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you remember, so did we fly at a BIOP, Baghdad International Airport? I can't remember when we went home.
No, we flew out of Kuwait.
Oh yeah, Kuwait, duh. No shit.
Yeah. It was and that was a civilian airliner that we.
Yes, I remember because I'll never forget. Right before when we lined up for takeoff, right before the pilot fucking punched it, he got on the loudspeaker and said, "Let's go home," and the whole fucking plane erupted, and cheers and shit. Then he punched it right after he said it, and then we went to take off. I'll never forget that. That was like the greatest feeling ever when he said, "Let's go home." I get chills thinking about that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'll never forget that. And then I got a picture of smoking my first cigarette at March Air Force Base, and Sergeant Sakaki's behind me, pretending to punch me in the head, and I had no idea he was there. Yeah, that was good. And then, oh man, I remember when we got back and turned weapons in, and then I think because it was it Olive Weapons Company? We got back all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
They they had Sergeant Garcia march us from the armory back up
Oh
to
yeah.
the battalion, the the barracks. That was pretty cool. And then when Weiler dismissed us, that was a good feeling too. That was really because all those people were there. And then
Yeah.
they had kegs of beer with these little mini solo cups. And I'm like, why are these so fucking small? Well, because our tolerance was so low, it was going to be.
Yeah.
Didn't take many. I'm like, oh, I got a little bit of a buzz already. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
Started
Yeah,
drinking that day, and I don't think I stopped for about a month.
I know, right? I know. Well, so we had before we deployed, we had that boot drop, and there was one guy, and I'm brain farting on his name. He went UA before we deployed because he didn't want to go to Iraq. His name was like Barker or Baker or something like that. He
Oh,
got
wait. Yeah.
he got
Oh,
caught while we were on deployment, and
oh
I
man, I
remember
forgot.
Home and Worth were telling me that like they were kind of pimping him up right before we came home. Like these guys are gonna fuck you up. You missed the combat deployment with them. They're gonna fuck you up. Right before he went home, he went UA again. He didn't
Jesus.
he didn't get back to us until we were already on the next deployment in Okinawa.
No
So
shit.
they caught him again, and he eventually came and stayed with us on that next deployment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it was Barker or Baker. I can't remember because that
That sounds.
motherfucker. He was supposed to A drive the Humvee down to the ships to get him on ship, and when he wasn't there, I got woken up and had to go do it. I was so fucking. It was like on Saturday. It was like on Saturday too.
Of course.
I was so fucking pissed. I'm like that motherfucker. I had to give him a whole Saturday, and I just got picked because I was the first person that someone saw. I was like going up
Hell
to the
yeah.
smoke. I was going to the smoke pit like Saturday morning. Like, hey,
Mhm.
get
I-
dressed. Guess what? You're going down to San Diego.
the story that I tell my kids all the time when they ask for like stories about the Marine Corps, one of the ones that I always tell is on Saturday mornings when we were back in garrison, I would set my alarm for 7:30. No matter, even if I went out drinking the night on Friday night, I would set it for 7:30, and I would leave base, and I wouldn't come back until 10 o'clock because I refused to get put on a working party. I would go literally lay on like the beach in San Clemente, just puking my guts out rather than do it back
It
in my
was the
barracks,
worst.
just so I wouldn't get put on a working party.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah. I just had one more thing pop into my head. I remember there was one foot patrol and it was near the end of the deployment. And I don't remember, I think it was just Rainmaker. I can't remember, but we dismounted, left the Humvees, and went through some part of like down the main part of Ramadi, like near the government center somewhere. It was pitch black, no lights, had my night vision on, and I was walking point. We came up to like a intersection and all out of nowhere came like a pack of dogs ran right across the front of me. And as soon as they came out of the into the intersection, they started howling. Scared, I must have jumped back 10 feet, scared the shit out of me. Just a whole pack of dogs, and then they were gone. It
Mhm.
was the weirdest thing. Scared the shit out of me. I just thought of that. I remember that being kind of funny.
So I
God.
remember, I think it was Wilbur, one of the interpreters, was telling us about the spiritual and cultural belief of like so the people that lived up in the Sophia district had a different version of their religion than everybody else in the city. I don't know anything about it. I'm sure
There
Blake
was,
knows. I'm sure
yeah,
Blake knows all this shit. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you do.
I'll refrain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This isn't a college course today. But anyway, they didn't keep dogs. That's the short version. And so there were often packs of wild dogs that some people had dogs, but they lived near this area, so they weren't allowed to keep them. So they would just feed them at the gate. But the dogs would band together in weird wild dog packs.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of times when we were out and, firefights had gone long, 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 like you were talking about 8, 10, 12, 13 fucking hours. And
Yeah.
we'd see the wild dogs come in and they'd start eating the bodies. And we were like, oh, fuck, we're fucked now. Like the dogs are here. And like, yeah, dude,
Glad I didn't see that.
it was crazy. It was real crazy. Yeah.
It's funny looking back on like some of our tactics and whatever. It's like not so much spraying, well, to sometimes spray and pray, but like me being on the SWAT team right now, where I'm at, it's like we got to be accountable for like every round we shoot,
Oh yeah.
and like back then it's crazy. Like no one gave a shit. Like you shot a million rounds that way, like we're not gonna go look and see what we hit. It's like no one gives a shit. And now it's like if if we shoot at something, we have to like it's a huge deal. Like we got to go find where every single bullet went, and you're accountable for every single one of those bullets you shoot.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And like even like the tactics where like we would like flood rooms and shit. It's like we do it way different on the SWAT team that I'm on. It's not you get like that foothold and you kind of read the room and go from there. And it's all about the angles and everything. And it's just a little different. Like we'll clear a house with 8 dudes and we can do it pretty well with 8 to 10 guys. And then, but looking back at raids we did, we just flooded with the whole platoon. That's fucking crazy. And looking back, I'm like, fuck, that's too many bodies in one room. But it worked for us when we were there.
It worked. Yeah, that's right.
And I know, like years ago, talking to guys on the SWAT team that have been there for a while, like that's how they used to do it too, which is tactics change and shit like that. But yeah, it's just crazy. Some of the little differences, I guess you could say, but. Yeah, so I don't know what else. I don't know. Like I got out and then I joined the Air Force Reserves right after. Pretty much after I tried going into the Marine Reserves because there was a law enforcement battalion that was here in Minnesota. And I kept getting put in touch with the wrong people, and I should have just gone to a recruiter here, but I had some buddies in the Air Force Reserves, and they kind of convinced me like if I did that, I could be with them, and like deployments are a lot shorter, which whatever. So I eventually just did that, and it was fine. And did a couple deployments to Kuwait and Qatar. So then did 16 years there, and then as soon as I hit the 20, I was like, they're trying to get me to stay in. I'm like, no, dude, I'm done. It's like I'm done.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I've asked not everybody, but quite a few people this, and you've been going for a while. This actually is this has been a very detailed recounting of a lot of stuff, dude. It's been good. It's been real good.
It's gone by quick to me.
Yeah, I think you're one of our more detailed interviews by far, and I like it. But I'm very curious on the more emotional side of things. What does it mean to you when you came back? Did you have any difficulty like sort of integrating and talking to your family? And what do you tell people?
No, so it wasn't too bad. At first, I didn't really talk about it. And then I think it might have been even before we went home on leave. I talked to, I think it was a Navy psychologist, psychiatrist. I can't remember. Because I wasn't, like, I didn't feel right. Because I wasn't really talking about it at all, about anything at all, really. And then I started talking to this dude. And he was like, I started feeling better. And he was like, basically like, the more I talk about it, the better I would feel about it. And that's kind of how it is. I've never like not talked about my experience in Iraq at all. Like when I talk about it, I feel better. So like some of my friends, when I got home, I would talk about it. It was like, I was like an open book. I didn't really hold anything back, and I can't really claim that I got PTSD. Nothing triggers me. I was never like driving down the road and, oh my God, there's some garbage there, and like, it's going to blow up. That might have been that at first, but, I remember being back at Camp Pendleton before leave. There was dudes down I can't remember what that shooting range was down in our backyard at Mateo. But I remember like one of the first mornings, someone was shooting in the morning and everyone kind of like ducked down real quick. And that was about it. Otherwise, I did pretty well transitioning from combat back to, real life, I guess you could say. I didn't really have any issues with that at all. Like I know some guys had
nice. Yeah.
major
It's good.
issues. I guess I'm just lucky and nothing really affected me nothing bad, I guess.
Well, I mean, and that's a good distinction point. Just speaking generally, you have adaptive behaviors no matter what.
Yeah.
And the definition of post-traumatic stress disorder is the disorder part. Does it interfere with your actual life? So even if you did have some stress or you saw some garbage and it made you sweat for a minute, did you freak out, pull on the side of the road and call EOD? Like that's a problem, right? If you're in California,
yeah, that would be a problem.
But if you didn't do those things, right, then it's not a big deal. So what do you kind of tell people? What does all this mean to you? Do you look back on it fondly? Do you just think it's something that happened, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take it back for anything. I'm glad I did it, and glad I made it through with just the, I mean, like my wounds were fairly minor compared to some of the other guys, and I ended up getting two Purple Hearts that I didn't even know I got the second one until we were back in the States. And Staff Sergeant Cook handed me there was no ceremony or whatever. He had like a stack of those. Do you remember that? He had
No,
a stack of the awards, and he's like, here you go. And I'm like, oh shit, I got a second one? I had no idea. I had
got
no
mine.
clue.
Nylan and I got out really fast. We were out by December, and
Okay, that's right.
one day in the mail, I got an award. It's like, here you go.
Well,
it's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Do you remember Mike Hansen?
Yeah.
So he's from Minnesota. So I've actually seen him quite a few times in the last few years. He got promoted to corporal while on terminal leave.
I got promoted to sergeant on terminal leave. They
No
fucking
shit.
held my promotion, man, because they were trying to get me to re-enlist, and they were like trying to dangle it. And like, anyways, whatever.
So I ended up getting promoted near the end of my enlistment, but I got in a little bit of trouble in Okinawa, and it was actually me and Hanson. So I got non-rect, and it was Sergeant Major Ellis. So you remember the barracks in Okinawa? We were in the same barracks in the second time in Okinawa, and the ladder wells on the exterior of the buildings. We were on like this almost the top floor, and it was so much easier to just go out there and smoke on the weekends at night than go down to the smoke pit.
Yeah,
100%.
So on a fucking Saturday night at I don't know what time, Hanson and I are out there smoking a cigarette. Here comes Sergeant Major Ellis in the dark, in camis on a Saturday night, sees us smoking, calls us down, chews our asses out. We're like, whatever. So we, 2 hours later, we're like, he's probably asleep by now or whatever. Go back out to smoke again. Nope. He's back out there in camis. And then we got in a lot of trouble, and I ended up getting non-wrecked.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I eventually got it before I got out, so that was nice. But I was just shy. I would have been just a few months shy of being eligible for sergeant, but I got non-rec, so oh well, not a big deal. I was getting out anyway, so it didn't really bother me. But I didn't. It was that second deployment to Okinawa for me. I did not. Garrison life was not great for me. I did not. I hated being in garrison, and we had a new platoon sergeant, and him and I bumped heads quite a bit. He was with that special operations training group, and we did like our trap school through them before that deployment. And he hadn't deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan or anything. He'd been with SOTG for a while, and he came to us, and he would talk about like Iraq like he'd been there, and we're all like, how the fuck do you know all this shit? Well, he was watching everything on like Blue Force Tracker or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but he was a moto guy, straight out of a Black Hawk catalog, and all this extra shit. And him and I bumped heads quite a few times, and we were on some big training mission in the jungle for like a week or two or something. And he left his rifle out, and I was like, oh. So I took the bolt out, and I hit it. And so we had before he came, we had a different platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant Cole. I can't remember what his name was, Cornwall or something. He was a pretty good dude. I liked him a lot. He ended up becoming our section leader, and he came over and was like, hey, because I was a squad leader then, and he's like, hey, Gunny's missing something. Does anyone know anything about this? I'm like, could you describe it better to me? Like, what's he missing? I kept that thing. I kept this bolt all fucking day long, and it wasn't until the middle of the night I went and set it on his Humvee, and then I went back to sleep.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
And he didn't care for me. I had my squad when we did like a movement to contact the next day. I had my squad do cami paint. Like there was one guy we did the rising sun on his face. Three of us were like all the characters from Kiss. Their
Nice.
face
Perfect.
paint.
That's
we had
good.
one dude was a tiger. That platoon sergeant, as soon as we got back, he's like, Mater, get you and your fucking squad to wash that shit off your face.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh god. But he couldn't. I was great in the field, and we did a couple different squad competitions, and I always took first place. And so he did like we did swim qual, and I got WSQ. He's like, where you fucking been all day? I'm like, swim qual. And he's like, what'd you get? I'm like, WSQ. Well, good job. You know. Yeah, but that was So.
Dude, this has been awesome. We're gonna wrap it up just because we're sitting at almost 3 hours.
That's fucking crazy.
You're my longest.
It's gone by quick.
Yeah, but it's been great, and I bet if you think about it a minute and you look through your journal again, I bet we could have you back on, and we should. This has been awesome, dude. It's been really good to see you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for doing this. This is pretty cool. Because I read that book, and I'm like, there ain't much about weapons company in here. There's a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys are doing this. It's been awesome listening to all the podcasts, and I've listened to all of them up till now. So we'll continue. We'll listen to them. Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
We're not going to stop till people stop saying yes. So yeah,
for sure, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I hope you get everyone.
That's the goal.
I
would love for you to have. Well, I guess he's Sergeant Major Cook now, or gunning hierarchy, or whatever. I think he was a Master Guns at the end.
If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe for future episodes on your favorite podcast service.